it to my
transition better. But
Or just add a fade.
yeah, I tried and I just didn't do it very successfully. But hello, everyone. I'm so excited to finally be able to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, George Perez, and everything. Like I said, I've got a couple giveaways to do, and everything that I pinned a actual PayPal link that goes straight to Hero Initiative, a great
Nice.
that actually work. George Perez was a big part of. So I wanted to make sure that I pinned that. That is awesome if you guys want to check that out. But like I said, everything will go to Hero Initiative that we work on today. But let's start out by introducing everybody. And when I introduce you guys, I got a request. You gotta tell me your meet cute. Your meet cute with George Perez. Starting with my fill-in, and I want to apologize. Perch was unable to make it. So Bianca, I'm gonna put you on the spot because it's my job at this point.
What? What's going on?
What is your meet cute with George Perez? And make sure I will put. I don't have Bianca's link in the channel just because things kind of shifted like 2 hours ago, but I will put that in there. Myself a comics channel in there. What's your meet cute? Come on, tell us how you know and you learned about George Perez.
Oh, is that what you mean? I've never heard of
Yeah,
meat cute
I don't know
before.
what-
I thought it was something to do with
I'm
food.
sorry, I don't know what it's called. Like
It confused me
like-
too. I was like, "What is she saying?"
like you meet like meet somebody and it's cute. Like you get it. You're meet cute.
Okay, so what am I talking about?
Oh my gosh, hold on, Reese.
Wow, that's great.
Wow, that's
Hero
a
of
great
the
start.
night, Reese.
That's a great
Excellent.
start.
Awesome.
If it wasn't for the fact that I'm not
Thank
getting
you.
paid until tomorrow, I'd try and match that.
Oh my God, Reese. Hero of the night. Thank you. Okay, back to me. Go for it, Bianca.
What am I talking about?
The first thing that introduced you to George Perez.
Exactly.
The first thing
Probably
that
be
introduced me
it
to George
comics or
Perez?
something that was based off of his work.
Oh, okay. I own nothing of George Perez.
Oh,
No.
I am waiting.
Is that allowed?
Tired.
I'm waiting to go back to my comic book shop so I can get the Wonder Woman Omnibus Volume 1 so I don't have to pay for delivery. And then I'm getting the rest digitally. But I know.
Oh my goodness.
But
That's a
it's
big
really.
There we go.
But I will say that
Joe
it's
saves the day.
impossible to not know about George Perez because everybody talks about him. Like every time I wanted to get into Wonder Woman, when I first wanted to know a little bit more about comics or whatever, George Perez was mostly the one that was talked about.
Yeah, that's about right. You hear the Wonder Woman and people are going to tell you stuff like Hikatea and maybe stuff like that. But
Hikatea was
there's no
Rucka.
conversation that doesn't include
Oh,
George
right.
Perez when it comes to Wonder Woman. There's just
Oh, right.
not.
That's what you meant.
Yeah. So Robert, you guys probably know Robert by now, but he has his own
Who are
channel
you?
too. Crisis on Infinite Earth. Tell us
This
about your
was
meet
the
cute.
first time I got into Perez's work, and not only and this is probably the biggest reason why when the news first came out about what's going on with him, why I broke down so hard, more than I've had for any other people. I mean, if anyone saw my tribute video, it's still up there. That was the day of. I broke down. Big part was this and so much of his work just really connects to me. This was the first time I found out the multiverse and everything. So it was also the writing, but female Dr. Light, one of my favorite heroines and everything, just like so much. The Anti-Monitor, one of my favorite villains. There's so much I love about Supergirl's sacrifice. Again, there's so much
Oh my gosh.
about this. And
Raymond, we're already at $100 for Hero
nice.
Initiative.
Awesome.
Thank you. So you guys are freaking amazing.
But yeah, like I
oh
said,
my goodness. Thank you, Raymond.
This was my first one. Now, it's no longer my all-time favorite, but it's up there. It is always going to remain up there, and it's such a huge part. thanks to Perez. And it's
Oh
such a
yeah.
shame that the recent anniversary thing. I mean, Ivan Reitz did a great job with that for that box art cover, but it should have been Perez. But by this point, he wouldn't have been able to do it. Makes sense, but I just wish he had done that.
I love Crisis. Like that is I would say as a DC fan, that's like
Must.
Spinner. Thank you so much. So oh my goodness gracious, you guys. Don't worry. I know it's a little bit harder when it comes to this, but yes, everything will be sent to Hero Initiative. So $150, you guys are fucking amazing. Like I was so worried about this that people would I wanted to do this and there was a lot of like fun things I wanted to add in and I was worried people would think I was crazy and this makes me feel so good. Thank you so much. All of you guys are amazing. Um but yeah, as far as Crisis goes, Crisis is to me like the quintessential story you need as a DC fan, right? Like there's so much explanation and it's weird to me going cuz I went back and reread Crisis before about 2 weeks ago. Um and the funny thing to me is we look at stuff like Bendis nowadays and we're like, "Oh, it's so convoluted and there's so much dialogue." And then you go to Crisis and you're like,
Yeah, not
he's
that.
got it more. He's got it more, but it's so good.
Oh yeah, definitely. And this was Wolfman's writing, of course, but Perez's
Well,
artwork was
yeah.
just so incredible, so fantastic. But now I will say though, it's not. You should not be your first DC story.
No,
Definitely
no,
not
no,
your
no, no.
first. I'm just
Get a
lucky
little
I have a brain
understanding
that
of
can
the
handle
universe
it.
first.
Yeah.
What about you, Rocky? What's your meet cute with Mr. Perez?
Oh my lord. My life is when I sat down and thought about George Perez, I mean, frankly, the guy almost single-handedly formed the mythology of my childhood. He's my religion. And I actually say that with it's very little hyperbole, quite frankly. The guy really is the guy's amazing. I came across a quote from Kurt Busiek, and he says that when he spoke of George Perez, he said George Perez makes life more fun for people around him and better for people he's never met. He's a great guy. And I can tell you that I've never met George Perez. So I'm one of the guys that George Perez has never met. And he's made my life more enjoyable because of it. I mean, I'm a lifelong DC fan, and I got to tell you, what's life without Crisis, right? I mean,
Yeah.
let's face it. I think part of the reason why it's almost become a trope, and while some people can criticize DC for always trying to, we're getting another Dark Crisis this summer. You can blame George Perez because I think DC is always trying to duplicate that madness of the Crisis. And another trope with George Perez is that you ask George Perez, how many characters are you going to put on the page, and he says all of them, right? It's always all of them. It's all
I love
of them.
that.
And
we got another one.
Oh
and
my
that's
goodness.
I mean that's
Jeez.
he's the one classic. I mean, I don't know, he's still, I mean, he kind of retired like a while back, but he's one of those guys where
He was still doing
you
commissions
can
even after
legitimately say that he's not been he's the best. He's there's no one that's come along that's really duplicated his magic and his artistic brilliance
Absolutely.
at all. And anyways, I'll leave it at that. But
I can agree to that. And it's
Reese,
Jimenez.
hold on. Let me get the super chat. Reese, oh my goodness. You are
100 now.
100. We're $200 already for this. You guys are absolutely amazing. Absolutely. Like, I don't know how to say thank you enough. I appreciate it so much. But it's
Wait,
time
so
for the
does
joke.
donating to the PayPal go to the
Hero
charity,
Initiative.
right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I'm poor, so I'll give you what I have.
You're fine, Bianca. You're a guest. You saved my butt today. You know what's really weird about like my weird OCD is so it would have been fine. The stream would have been okay. It would have been 5 of us, right? But it also looks very weird to me on the screen. So I have to have 6 or 4 or 2. I don't know what's wrong with my brain, but I have to. I'm like, Bianca, please, do you work? Or thing.
Amazingly not.
Okay. I was gonna look at. I seen Robert. You put it, but that's on your.
Well, I put it on my stream,
Okay.
so I just pinned it on my stream.
Perfect. Okay, Joe.
Hey.
Amazing Joe Corallo, author of Backstar. Eisner winning Joe Corallo.
It was a Ringo, but I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry.
I got it. Eisner nominated, but yeah,
Eisner
but no,
nominated.
but no.
I'm
It's
sorry.
I'm with you guys. I think Crisis is pretty great.
Oh,
Look at that.
that's what I was
Oh,
talking
my
about.
goodness.
It was all like, oh my god, was it 13
So jealous. I'm
volumes in
so
here?
jealous.
And that has
Oh
all
my
the different
God.
multiple like stuff
Yeah.
on
Oh
different
my
Earths leading up to
Oh,
it.
man.
Not just Crisis.
But
Oh my
That's
goodness.
so awesome.
I first got familiar with George's work and was like, I had read other stuff that he had illustrated when I was younger. Like I was picking up, the JLA Avengers as it was coming out, and but in terms of like really being like, oh, let me actually get something specifically because George Perez had worked on it and really dive into one of the series was the new Teen Titans. And when I did meet him, I got him to
Nice.
sign the
Oh my
first
gosh, that's
couple of
amazing.
Right on.
these for me at a show. So
How
it's
cool.
really, so that was good
That's so
stuff.
cool.
But the first time I met him was at Big Apple Con here in New York in 2013, and I know that because he dated the Superman sketch for me 2013.
Whoa.
Wow.
When I got that.
That is
Amazing.
beautiful.
That is so cool.
That's
yeah,
really
and
awesome.
a lot of his Superman stuff, I saw in the chat, he did do the New 52 stuff, but most of his Superman stuff is in this omnibus, actually, the Superman Exile and other
With a little
stories.
bit of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
That's
he's
amazing.
and he did a good Superman. I wish he did more because I think he did great with that character. But yeah, no, and obviously with Wonder Woman, that whole really everything in Wonder Woman, sort of between Crisis on Infinite Earths and Infinite Crisis, there's like some dips, but overall the quality is held pretty high through that whole run. And
Oh, yeah.
that's all because of the foundation that George Perez was able to lay for those first 62 issues and annuals and everything.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let me get this. Soup, thank you so much. I still love these. Peer character cheerfully blowing a party horn.
So
Thank
we're
you.
at 205 now.
205. Yep, absolutely. Thank you so much, Soup. Max. What is
Wait,
your
so
meet cute?
You're telling me I have to. You're telling me I have to follow up against Joe's sketch? Come on,
Yeah,
guys. That's not
I
fair.
don't
No.
know.
Good
I
luck
got a
with that.
sketch. I have a sketch too. I could show off.
Oh my
Well, then
goodness.
it's double. Then I gotta
Yeah,
go against
right?
both you guys.
You
No,
can
okay.
do it.
Joe, that sketch really is beautiful. Like, there are very few things now that tend to take my breath away. Like, comic book covers are fantastic, and signatures are great. But there's something personal about a sketch that, like, I don't know. It's just seeing that really is. I don't want to say emotional, but it really is very, very cool to see that. So thank you for sharing that, man. That was
No
really
problem. Happy to
that was
do it.
awesome.
Truly.
But yeah, I don't have. I'll agree with you guys. This was the first cover I ever picked up from him, and from there,
Fantastic.
I had to figure out who this guy was. And I mean, because it was such a heavy emotional cover that it brings something out in you. And so I was like, okay, who is this guy? So then I picked up the Teen Titans Omnibus and read through that, and you just get so many great character designs, and everything is just so well done. And like you were saying, Rocky, it's such like a great little modern mythology. Like you don't see cartoons, you see people, you see all the
Yeah.
characters that he's been drawing. And then I found out once I was reading the Superman Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow that he inked that first issue by Kurt Swan. And then that second issue, are you going to pull it out?
I
Okay,
love
yep,
it.
perfect. Yeah.
That he signed for me, but
Oh my
Yes.
goodness. That's amazing. Oh, you both have it.
It's so cool.
I love it.
And that was what was so interesting is like that was really that storyline was when I realized like everything he touches turns to gold, because even though
Oh,
he
yeah.
didn't illustrate, he inked. When you look at the two issues side by side and you flip through them, they look totally different. And
Mhm.
because of his inking brings so much more to the character, brings so much more to the story. And I did like a stream with a friend of mine, and we were going through that first issue, and it really is. I mean, it's night and day difference. So it really just made me appreciate so much more of him, because he's made such an impact on this industry, not just from his illustrations, but even just when he's inking something, it makes it
Yeah.
that much better. So that was my introduction. Never got to meet the man, but from what I've heard, he's just an incredible, personable gentleman. So
I
Oh,
just
yeah.
want to interject and say one thing, that I don't have anything to compare with what you produced, Joe. But I have the next, in my view, I actually have the old retailer advertisements from 1985 and 1986 that my retailer gave to me back in the day. I've been collecting for 4 decades. I've got the
Awesome.
original posters for when Wonder Woman was advertised for Wonder
That's
Woman.
so cool.
And
Nice.
and I have my favorite. This is my favorite poster. I wish there was a speculator market for posters. There just isn't. But I have this. I have the original
Oh,
from my
wow.
comic book retailer back in the day. This is not the one that's reproduced in the 50th anniversary compilation of the hardcover. This is the smaller one that the retailers got. Anyways, this one I've hung on my wall multiple times, and you can see the creases. It's not a 9.8 at all by any stretch, but it's one of those things. It's one of those things where it's just love of an image, love of an era. And it's so funny because I've got over the years I got George Perez Storyteller. I looked at the archives back here, and looking through everything that he's drawn, it's like, I'm happy to report I own at least 75% of everything that guy's done for DC.
Wow.
And because I don't have all of it, but I say that, and I don't say that with ego. I say that with pride and just love,
Yeah.
because I never appreciated until I sort of prepped upon the invite for this tribute to him, and upon hearing about his medical condition. It's just so sad. I lost my dad a few months ago, and I feel like I'm sort of losing my icons. I really
Yeah.
do. And so it's just one of those things where it's just like, oh my God. And I'm looking back at all this stuff, and the guy's amazing. And I want people to, give the Heroes Initiative. The guy's just amazing. I love a quick quote here. There's one quote by Barbara Kessel. She says she compared anything that George Perez drew. He's sort of like, it's like visual rock and roll. At first it might seem like a lot of noise, but the more you stare at anything drawn by George Perez, the more you see the detail. I got a 6 foot long the Alex Ross Perez collaboration there, laminated onto wood back there. It's amazing. And on the
Wow.
back, all the characters, and it's just incredible. It's my favorite piece, and it's just, the guy's just a legend here. And man, oh man, just good to be here.
Funny you mentioned that about his inking. I mean, look at this. This is him inking over Phil Jimenez's work, and then there's him inking over in the same series Jose Luis Garcia Lopez's work. Hold on, let me get a good image. Oh, come on. Sorry, I had it, and then I lost it.
Find one while I get these. Oh, there we go.
Yep.
That's
Again.
amazing.
Yeah, but again, it's just like he doesn't overpower them, but yet for a moment you almost think it's his artwork because of how his inks, much like when someone else inks his, it's that kind of, you know what I'm trying to say, right? Is that something about his work, even if he's inking someone else's, it's like when Joe Prado inks over someone, it kind of gives that Ivan Rice-like look to it almost. Like when he inked over Jose Luis Garcia Lopez for the Batman 66 Lost episode. For a moment you think, wait, it's, because it's something similar to this. And, well, we just got so many super chats.
Yeah, let me catch up on the super chats, guys. Thank you. You guys have no idea. Thank you so much, Reese. I love it. Spectacular Dr. Soup. I love Dr. Soup. She is amazing. She is one of my favorite people. If you guys haven't seen her channel, you should absolutely check it out. But thank you so much, Reese. You are our hero of the night. I'm in shock. Raymond. Oh, it's a I love these things. Pair character lifting some weight, saying keep it up. Awesome. Thank you so much, Raymond. Thank you. Yo, you trucking nerd. Another great channel. I've been missing your videos. I'm not gonna lie. George
Did you
could
just
draw.
start it back again?
Yeah, I need to get you on the channel if you're interested. It would be awesome. But he says George could draw Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent outside of their costumes, and you could actually tell who it was. He broke away from how everyone else was drawing them. Thank you for supporting a great artist in person. Well, thank you so much. We're at 235. Oh my God. Thank you guys.
I would agree with that because that's a problem John Byrne had, for example. If you ever saw Byrne's artwork, he had some of the same models you fall into. Perez never seemed to have the same models.
Well, when he was doing Wonder Woman at the beginning, wasn't he trying to start inking himself? I know he had two different inkers, if I remember correctly. But wasn't he starting to ink himself towards the end of that, or am I thinking the wrong run?
Not sure. I know that some of the times when he inked himself, like JLA Avengers was an entire ink himself. I'm not sure on that one.
I don't know. I don't remember, but I know it was around there. But yes, I appreciate this so much, you guys. I really, really do. I realize when I do videos and stuff, I made that intro video when he came out with the news right before Christmas time. And it was simply because I couldn't talk about it. Like, I wanted to make a video about it, but I could not even read the words he was writing without, like, breaking down. It was the only way I knew how to honor somebody like that. And I think at some point, like, I just want to people even that maybe are new to comics, Bianca is newer to comics, right? And this lets people know, like with the JLA, are you guys getting the JLA Avengers that's coming up, that are printing 7,000?
Don't need to.
If I can,
Everyone's
there's only
we got
7,000 of them. So, I mean, I think they're going to sell out rather quickly. But,
oh, yeah.
I mean, look, I'm classic. So I got the original omnibus. So
that's
I'm
what I got.
Happy with that. So I'm not going to be honest with you, I actually don't want to buy it only because I would rather have somebody who's never experienced JLA Avengers. I'd rather a new reader pick up my copy I don't want to take away a copy from somebody else. And so,
thank you.
I think that's there. You go. It's like I want as much people to enjoy Perez as possible. So,
Raymond, thank you.
250
Your
now.
OCD is kicking in, just like me. I gotta have even numbers. It's totally not.
It's probably because of me. I put like $1, so that probably messed everybody up.
My OCD is kicking in. Hopefully, it's extra. Puts it 15 puts an extra 250. Thank you so freaking much. Like, I can't say thank you enough. But what was I? When it came to the JLA stuff, wasn't that originally supposed to be done in the 80s? And there was a big. That's what I thought.
Yeah. In fact, I met Shooter just a few days ago, and he actually put into context about what happened. I know I'm not trying to take over, but can I go over this one?
Yeah, go ahead. This is all about fandom and about what.
And unfortunately, it doesn't make DC look. It doesn't make DC look good at all. Unfortunately,
it's okay. They don't always have to look good.
Yeah, well, because apparently the way the contract they had signed was, and this was starting from the second Spider-Man Superman one, where they would pick someone from one side to be the person who would greenlight it, and then basically the person who would. Got another super chat. 270
now. Reese, this trucking nerd. You are awesome. He really is. It's such a unique thing. Like, thank you so much, Reese, by the way. You are awesome. But, like, he does these videos where he, like, goes around to different comic shops, tells you about the town, tells you about what's in the shop, does a little giveaway, tells you what he got. Like, it's such a cool concept. I absolutely love that channel. But thank you so much.
Right. But as I was saying,
I'm sorry, Robert.
no, that was my fault. I was the one who pointed it out. But basically, then they would rotate back and forth, and then most of the ones they sold, the second Superman and Spider-Man did very well. You had Hulk and Batman. Then you had Teen Titans and X-Men. That did huge. So they finally got into JLA Avengers, and according to the shooter, they barely got the plots until later on. And he kept on asking, like, where are the plots? Where's the plot? And when he finally had to make a threatening telegram or whatever message to Dick Giordano finally called him up and they talked and he says, like, oh, I thought you greenlit it already. No, we didn't. Send it over. They sent it over. And I thought Dick Giordano was brushed off like, oh, these are dumb anyway. It's like, really? But yeah, they sent it over. He looked over. It was a dumb plot. Like, there's some aspects of it that are real good, like having the Lord of Time and Kang be the main cause of the villainy. But basically, they tried to intercept something at the end of time. A ball of energy that starts bouncing around, and then the League and the JLA decide, without no explanation, we'll go to each other's worlds and do it. And then they'll just keep heading back. And at one point, you would have Superman be on Galactus' ship. And then he would, back in time, he would have noticed a menu of what planets are up next. And the very next one was Krypton. So what does he do? He doesn't go and fight Galactus. He just takes that Krypton and makes it last on the list and just leaves. It's like, that's dumb. You had other stupidity. And at the very end, they arrive at the dawn of time where apparently if this thing makes it there, it's going to be the end of everything. And they end up fighting each other. No explanation, no reason. They end up fighting each other. And then Green Arrow and Hawkeye both shoot arrows at each other with intent to kill. The two arrows hit each other, ricochet forward into this ball, hits it, and resets everything. And he was just like, we have a lot of issues. And then eventually it just started falling apart. Dick Giordano basically had convinced Perez that Shooter was a tyrant and everything. So Perez was like, I'm out, I'm done. Jerry Conway didn't like how, and to be fair, Shooter did say he showed the plots to other people, and they're like, this is stupid. What the heck? This is beyond stupid. And Roy Thomas even said, I don't think Jerry came up with the plot. I think he was stuck writing it. I think someone else gave him a plot, because this doesn't sound like Jerry. And eventually Jerry got pissed off at everything, and then eventually everything just fell apart. But a lot of it all started with Dick Giordano just deciding not to really care about anything. It's just like, really?
Oh my goodness. Let me get this. I got another super chat, and then I want to do a giveaway. Joe, pick a number 1 through 4, just randomly.
2.
Okay. I would love to come up. Yay! I will email you tonight. I'm excited. I would love to have you on. I think your channel is amazing. So I will email you, and thank you so much. Okay. So we got
275.
What's that? Oh, 275. Yep. Awesome. Okay. So what I'm going to do in the random number generator. And I know a lot of people do amazing giveaways. I'm not able to do something super great. So I just went through my flappies from the last year and pulled 4 of them. So in the chat, everyone that has talked more, what I've got is the number of chats that are on here so far. So I'm going to do a random number generator. Whatever number that it picks is going to be the person that wins. Let me get the amount of chats we have so far.
Nice, Robert.
Yep, that's Batman swing kicking Captain America right in the face. This was part of the original artwork.
Yes.
So everybody that is here is in it. Okay. And then I'm going to have to count. That was not a smart way to do it, was it? I got to count. What can I do?
I was doing some Googling while you guys were talking real quick. I would hang on to those collected editions because of the JLA Avengers run. The least amount that I saw it at, and it was only the trade paperback was about $300. And
oh my goodness!
There. Well, mine's not going to be worth that much.
Oh no!
Hey, I don't care. I do not care. I never buy these for the resale value. I buy these so I can always have them. And if they get shredded, hey, makes a good story when I go into the convention, people. And I still remember Dwayne McDuffie once saying, when I showed it to him, saying, wait, Tavia, what do you mean $300? We're not at 300 yet. But yeah, he said, well, let me guess, you're going to go slam it, right?
It's fun to look through your old comics and like they have the wear from you reading them. Like I have an old Wolverine. I think it's Wolverine 50. You know, the Mark Silvestri. And
oops, I accidentally hit that. I'm counting. Sorry.
Oh no, that's all right.
Nope. Trying to cat to the background.
And I look at that comic and I'm like, man, I read the crap out of this as a kid. So I'm speaking of submitting slabs, did any of you guys submit for the Perez like CGC signing that unfortunately had to be canceled? Or
no.
I was not aware.
No.
I
had a whole slew. I easily came up with 25 to send in, and fortunately, I put a pie wash on that when I found out about that when it was canceled. I didn't do that, but yeah, it's unfortunate, and it was actually I even thought it was somewhat comical. Or not comical. Sorry, what am I saying? I meant it was somewhat economical, is what I mean to say. At $75 a pop, I thought that was. I was expecting it to be more, to be quite frank. But it's still expensive when you're sending in that many. But I mean, when you're talking about a legend like this, I mean, I tell you, it's one of those things. Is I mean, the guy's a legend, and from a personal point of view, you don't want anything. You want him. You wish him well, but at the same time. There's that sort of like awesome speculator side. Like, this guy's a legend, man. I want as much. I want to get as much as I can from him before he leaves us. And it's so depressing, and it's it's one of those topics. It just frustrates me. It angers me. It's like it's just yeah, I'm glad we're doing stuff like this. We're having tributes like this while he's still alive, so he can maybe watch them and enjoy them and know how much that he's how much he's brought to the medium and how much fans like us love him.
I gotta say though, another thing of his I love.
Hold on, Robert. 1 second. Right. Let me get the super chat. Thank you so much. I'm paused. Just testing and see if I can super chat. Oh, it hasn't worked on Mecca's channel. It's bad enough. YouTube deleting my comments and links on your channel. I know. YouTube, I don't know what is going on. I get, like, if I go through my spam folder, there is so much that should not be in my spam folder. And then even when I approve, like, MPause, you're on always approve. So, like, there will be certain people that you can put, like, you and Tava and Black Phoenix, and you've got all these people that you can just always approve their comments. But it still catches it. It makes no sense. But thank you so much. I'm trying to think. Does anyone have a better idea on how to do this? Why didn't everybody?
Whatever happened to that random spinner thing you once had?
Yeah, but then I would have to put everybody's names in.
Oh, right. I would say so far, if I had to pick one person I've seen quite a lot, one of them would be Black Phoenix. Tavia. I've seen Reese.
I know, but I want it to be fair. I've got it through here, and I start listening to your guys' story, and then my head goes, "Oh, that I want to say that," and then no, you're totally fine. How about this? Everybody put a number in the. No, that's dumb too.
No,
I'm not very good at this. Okay,
we could ask a question, like we could ask a comic question, and the first person in chat to answer correctly, maybe.
Yeah, let's do that. You are so smart. See, this is why I have you on the channel, because you're up.
I have a list of two truths and one lie, focusing on George Perez's career. I've got some of those.
Oh,
you mentioned that in the community post, Trez.
I only had enough time to put together 4 questions, but I think they're actually, some of them I think are easy, some of them I think are a little bit more difficult. But I can have a little fun with that.
That is so perfect. I love it. Thank you. You saved my butt because I was counting and like, this doesn't make sense. Why am I doing it this way? Hey, this is the first time I've ever done anything like this. Forgive me. I'm sorry.
Perfectly fine.
I'm trying. Okay, so what's your 2 truths and 1 lie? And the first person to get the lie in the comment section will get, and you pick number 2. Will get the lie. So we are looking at. Let's see.
All right. So this is I'm
Why isn't it
gonna say
saying
3
that?
statements. Sorry.
Okay, so it'll be Legion of Superheroes #1.
Okay.
That'll be what this is for. Okay, go for it. I'm sorry.
All right. So this is I'm gonna give 3 statements. 2 of them are gonna be true. 1 is gonna be the lie. And if I understand the rules correctly, the people have to identify the lie.
Correct.
All right. So these are the statements in no particular order. The first statement is George Perez's wife's name is Carol. The second statement is the most characters he's ever drawn in a compilation was on Crisis on Infinite Earths. The third statement is George Perez was born in 1954.
All right.
Which
you
statement
guys
is a
go.
lie?
Oof.
See,
Well, I'm not going to try. I'm not trying to guess.
I need what is it, like Jeopardy music? Dun dun dun.
I can restate them again. The first statement is George Perez's wife's name is Carol. Second statement, the most characters he's ever drawn on a page was for Crisis on Infinite Earths. And the third statement is George Perez was born in 1954. Which one of those statements is a lie?
Do 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 do.
I
think we got it.
If someone gets it right the first, I think we should just call it then. So
Yeah.
You want me to? Okay, the answer?
Did someone get it? No, did someone already get it? Did
I
someone
think
already get
Tava
it?
got it. Yeah.
Well, can I say the answer now or
Yes,
not?
go for it.
Well,
Okay, now I got a source for this because I didn't believe this myself. The source I got for this was George Perez Storyteller, and apparently the most characters he's ever drawn in a compilation was for JLA versus Avengers. It was not for Crisis on Infinite Earths.
yeah,
So
the cover.
statement that the most characters he's ever drawn on a page for was on Crisis on Infinite Earths is in fact not true. It's actually JLA versus Avengers, and the amount of characters, according to Kurt Busiek, is 509 characters.
Wow.
So I don't know. Now
Good
I
night.
have that huge Crisis picture behind me, and I know there's a lot on there. I've never counted them, but
Oh my goodness.
so anyways,
Wow.
so take that for what it's worth. So
Tava, you are our lucky winner. Yay, you guys sent us
Oh.
that ticket. That's awesome. So
I think this
I
is
have
the
your
image.
email. I have your email, Tava. I'll email you after the stream and I can get your information. But yes, you won the Legion book. Yay.
Like I said,
Congrats,
I
man.
think this
Good
is,
job, Tava. Oh my goodness, 509?
and if it was for this cover, he got carpal tunnel or something, or broke his hand or something doing this
my
cover
gosh.
and delayed the book. And the best part about all of this, now, first of all, they originally were going to get Mark Waid to write the book. Unfortunately, he was exclusive at CrossGen at the time. So was George Perez, but Perez had it in his contract specifically. If this project was to start up, he would drop everything at CrossGen and work on this book.
That's amazing.
Mark Alessi
I
at
can-
CrossGen actually gave him a leave of absence, and he actually encouraged George Perez to give an ultimatum to Marvel and DC saying, provide me a letter of intent by a deadline. And Mark Alessi recommended to George Perez to give them a deadline of a letter of intent. And on the final day of the deadline, he got a letter from Joe Quesada with a binding contract. And Mark Alessi kept his word at CrossGen and gave him a 1-year leave of absence in 2003 to work exclusively on JLA versus Avengers. And thank God he did. And also, just a quick comment, it's a blessing in disguise because George Perez himself has said that, you know, that the fact that the 1983 JLA Avengers project, which did not go through, the improvement on the artistic collaborations and just the technology and everything and just the type of just the improvements in the industry itself, it actually benefited the delay. And so the fact that that JLA Avengers never came out until 2003, it's actually a better compilation than it would have been in 1983. So, you know, sometimes, you know, some things work out for the best, you know, so even though it's sort of a life lesson, even though things might seem really bad at first, sometimes the best things come to those who wait. And I think JLA Avengers is a great example of that in the career of Perez.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
By the way, can I show off my my sketch?
Oh, yes,
I have?
I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. It's all right. This is a sketch that I had Perez do for me. and that's my own original character, Jewel. And just the one thing I love about Perez is that when he did this, and as you can see, it was 2013 as well. Basically, he does as much as he can to get as much artwork out to people. So he does this little you come there, you do a raffle, you get a ticket, you come by a certain point of time, and then he will draw whatever you want for a very reasonable price. I think this was like $30.
Wow.
Yeah.
So cool.
And
it's your original character.
Yeah, that's my original character. I got plenty of them, but this is going to always be one of the ones I will never forget. And the fact he added the glowing eye, I love that. Because she's an android.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's
really cool.
I love stuff like that, and being able to have something like that and be able to always have it. And it's it's awesome that you have it as your original character. That's so neat.
Oh, yeah, I try my hardest. And unfortunately, people like Dan Jurgens, he says, I can't do original characters. Or he says, it's more like, I think they really has to catch his interest for him to do it. Perfectly understandable.
Oh, yeah. I totally... I love... one thing I wanted to mention about George Perez, and that's... I know it's so silly, but he always has the best shirts. I know his wife makes them for him. And it's so cute. It's so cute. This man has fashion sense, and his wife is right there trying to help him every step of the way. And the way that you see that love.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, Nerdette, because remember the Jim Lee collection out of the New 52? Yeah, me neither. We should have a George Perez collection. And by the way, I have a Jim Lee New 52 shirt, but we really should have. I mean, why don't we have? To me, there's a vacuum of there's a lack of DC product in my view compared to Marvel, and I think it's reprehensible. And the marketing of DC Comics, I think it's appalling, because I've always been a DC guy. I've always been more of a DC guy, and I'm so jealous of how well Marvel markets their products and their shirts and the variety. And think of how the Perez collection, if Perez is going to leave us, I mean, at least have the Perez Hawaiian shirt collection. I don't know about you, but I think that would sell. I mean, maybe I'm old school,
yeah.
but I just, let's see that.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at all the designs he did on the Avengers. Just look at the designs he did on the Avengers for Wasp and all that. Remember, Wasp is a fashion designer. She knows fashion, and he would make sure she got a different outfit. And he came up with some incredible outfits. Then you also have Scarlet Witch's gypsy outfit. Good for the time, but stuff like that.
I'm actually super I'm gonna lose some nerd cred here. I'm not super familiar with his Marvel stuff. I mean, the Infinity Gauntlet and stuff, but
sure.
Just because I'm such a DC person, I don't know his Marvel stuff near as much. Have you read his Marvel stuff?
Sorry, I was responding to a message real quick.
Oh, you're totally fine. No,
who's the author you guys were talking about?
George Perez.
Oh, okay. So, sorry, I heard Jim Lee for a second. I was like, wait, are we talking about Jim Lee's Marvel stuff?
No.
No, I have not. I'm not as familiar. I've always known.
Yes, I'm not
Perez
the only one that loves nerd cred.
Yeah, so maybe my nerd card will be taken too now. But
yeah, we both lost.
Well, I only got some, like Incredible Hulk, Future Imperfect, one of his best work, if you ask me.
I know that. No, I know that Joe kind of knows the history of everybody. Wait, I'm not gonna lie. If you want to know the history of something, go to Thinking Critical, and Joe will tell you all about it. It's amazing.
But George's stuff is Avengers is probably the thing he's best known for at Marvel, both in the 70s into the early 80s, and then just like you're showing the
oh wow,
the what was it, the omnibuses they put out for
Busey Perez,
and Marvel did announce, I believe in September, they're reprinting the volume 1 of the Busey Perez omnibus, which has been out of print for years. So
wow, I lucked out.
yeah, so it'll be nice to have that back in print. The volume 2 is like out of print, but it's still not impossible to get. But I mean, he also contributed to some stories. He didn't do all the artwork, but some of the artwork in, like the Korvac saga, stuff like that. Some classic Avengers stories. He co-created Taskmaster.
He even did some writing on Silver Surfer, which people don't forget. He did like a whole year, long enough to do this crossover.
Yeah, so it's a lot of that sort of stuff. It's also interesting because the whole point with Kurt taking over Avengers is he wanted to make sure George was going to be on the book with him, but he had a lot of demands because, oddly enough, Busiek really wanted to do Iron Man, and he was like, "I'll do Avengers if I can do Iron Man." With Sean Chen, and that was. It's just funny how that worked out. Like, and I'm not knocking that run of Iron Man, but people talk a lot more about that Avengers run.
He was on it longer.
Yeah, but and then I mean, George came in through Rich Buckler. His first published work was, involved Deathlock. So
didn't he create a like the first Puerto Rican superhero for Marvel?
Yes, it was.
So.
What was it? Was it White Tiger?
Yes, White Tiger. That's exactly what it was.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
so
picking up on what your comment, Joe, is that when it's funny when you talk about George Perez wanted to draw Iron Man, he was really fascinated with the Justice League of America when he came to DC, and they wanted him to do this title called Teen Titans, and he wasn't too necessarily gung-ho on the Teen Titans, and of course we know the history of that, and eventually by issue, I don't know, I think it was 3 or 5 or whatever, the success of Teen Titans, it obviously his success on that overshadowed his success on GLA, so he seems sometimes his own instincts about what he would be the best at were off, but we were all better for it.
Yeah, and that's a lot of people though, but there was no reason for New Teen Titans to be a success at all. They only just a few years beforehand had a completely failed panned, I'm being a little hyperbolic, but it was a dud of a relaunch of Teen Titans, and it was just a few years later that they were like, let's try it again. And it was a massive success that it's almost the victim of its own success in a way, because they were never able to get back to that level of popularity of Teen Titans. Like it's pretty wild.
I still say the one work of his I always chuckle at most is the one where his notion, now, because here's what he always did. A person would write in a bunch of characters, and then he would add more. That's usually how it went. But then the one time, it had bit him in the butt when Jeff Johns had him do Legion of Three Worlds, and he literally gave him thousands of characters specifically to draw, and Perez was like, I don't usually intentionally draw thousands. It just ends up that way where I just do it for the fun. Don't actually, it's like, well, is there anyone that ended up being one of his last DC works? Not for a bad thing, but, just the fact that he drew so many, I bet you that helped Tucker him out.
Oh, yeah. So let's do a, I'll do 2 truths and a lie about me. So I am going to make you guys think about the videos you've listened for me, but whoever gets it first.
I will win. I'm just kidding.
Yes, Bianca, pick a number, 1, 2, or 4.
17.
That doesn't work, Bianca.
Okay, you said 1, 2, or 4,
class.
Right? 1, 2, or 4?
Yes, 1, 2, or 4. Wait, 1, 3, or 4? Oh my goodness, I need to go back to that.
Number 4, because it's even.
All right, I'm not telling you guys what it is until we've already got the 2 truths and a lie out there. So if you're listening, 2 truths and a lie about me, whoever gets it first correctly will win number 4. Okay. First comment is from Coochie Vagina. No. What the fuck? Where did we go with this conversation? Okay. 2 truths and a lie. I was held up at gunpoint at one point. Batman is my favorite character, and I am 35 years old.
Dang,
Two
you
truths
talked
and a
about this
lie.
too.
Come on.
You talked about this
What's
before.
that?
You talked about
as
this
as a
before.
man, I never ever guess a woman's age. I'm not.
No,
that
wait.
smart.
Is this for
Don't.
us? Wait, is this
Very,
for
very
us?
smart.
Is this for us or is this for the chat? Is this
For
for
the
another
chat.
thing?
For the chat.
Oh.
Oh wait, we're supposed to
Batman.
detect the lie, right?
Yes, so did Justice.
I already know
That
what it
was
is
dang
then.
quick.
I won't
That
say.
was quick. Batman is one of my favorite characters, but he's not my favorite. Very good, Hooded Justice. Let's see what you got. You got number 4. Is this going to show up?
Ooh.
My overlays are not working.
Hmm.
There we go.
So which one is it? Which
Future
one?
State Gotham, number 1.
Good riddance.
Awesome. Hell yeah. Well, I pay attention. Well, that's awesome. I love Batman. I do. But nobody can surpass the feminine wiles of Harley Quinn and Catwoman. Come on now. We know this.
No, so they're tied for your number 1?
Yes. You know, right now, just because I'm loving the current Catwoman, because it's so different than what we've got from Rom V, I would say Catwoman's number 1 right now. But that doesn't mean it won't change tomorrow.
Are you looking forward to the new Catwoman depiction in the new Batman film?
Oh my goodness. I am so excited. I'm like counting down the days till Thursday. It
Oh
looks
my God,
so
yeah.
good.
I
Are
got
you
my
going-
tickets
You got your tickets
Nice.
already?
Yeah,
I should do
for
that.
Thursday. No, I'm excited. Finally, we're going to get an actor playing Batman that's played Final Fantasy VII.
That's an interesting.
That's never happened before.
That was the one thing you were looking for on the resume of Robert Pattinson was does he
It's
play a lot of video games?
it's oddly specific, but hey,
I
That's
think
good.
Zoe Kravitz to me, and I know I've said this a lot, but she looks straight out of Darwin Cook. Like she just looks like the embodiment of that, and I love the way she looks. And I actually really like that. It looks like she's getting a little bit more of a. I know it's a Batman movie, I know that, but it looks like she's getting a little bit more of her own like story. She's not just like a side piece. You know what I mean? Like it looks
Yeah,
like she's getting
and-
her own story.
and I'm really excited that the Penguin's not allowed to smoke in this movie, so that way kids walk away with a powerful lesson that bad guys don't smoke.
Wait, what?
Shouldn't that be where bad guys do smoke?
Not
that
a
you
lot of
shouldn't
smoke.
do?
That's where I was going with that.
I'm
I
happy
will
that the
say-
guy who played Riddler, he said that playing the character he plays, gave him so much of a scare that he literally can't sleep at night and hasn't been
Oh my
for
goodness.
months. So I'm hyped.
Well, I
about
know
that.
they based them a lot off of the Zodiac Killer, and kind of went with that vibe with it, very like horror-esque, and I think it looks awesome. Why can't he smoke? I had no idea that was even a thing.
I totally
It's
forgot
just
Penguin
the
smokes.
movie regulations and stuff like that. Yeah, but I
All
think
right.
Max was trying to say something.
Oh, I'm sorry, Max. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, speaking of Penguin, whoever did the makeup and costume design for Colin Farrell
goodness.
deserves something. I
An
mean,
Academy Award.
yeah, I mean, I rewatched the trailer not too long ago, and someone had to shake me and say, "Believe it when I tell you that this is Colin Farrell." You know, the same Colin Farrell that we see in like In Bruges. You know, kind of a indie film, but one of my favorites of him. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to his portrayal. It looks like just it's so cool to see someone who normally would never play something like that be in that role. So we're kind of getting that on all fronts. We're getting that with Bruce Wayne. We're getting that with Penguin and Catwoman. And so yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it. The trailers continue to drive it home. So
I love the I guess the Penguin's getting his own spin-off also
Yes.
on HBO Max. I love that they're
Wow.
taking these movies like Suicide Squad they did with Peacemaker. This they're doing with Penguin, and I think they're doing a Gotham City garage, not Gotham City Garage. We were talking about that the other day, Bianca, and I don't know why I said that. Gotham Central, like thing.
Yeah.
And I love that they're like expanding upon the world they're building in the main movie. I think it's really smart. Like, I don't know if you guys watch Peacemaker, but I'm still obsessed. Like, it was the show that literally nobody asked for, but everybody loved. It was so good. And I could say so much good about it, but it's like, I never expected to love that character so much. Maybe they'll be able to do the same with the Penguin, or they'll make me hate him, which is just as well also because he's a villain.
Yeah, we had the stream that we did, Nerdette, with the Batman like titles and Batman sales or whatnot. That intro was probably 4 minutes of Peacemaker highlights.
I love it.
You were on a Peacemaker kick, so
it's never gonna go away. It's so good. No, it was just like so refreshing to see DC fans get a win for once. Like, if you're a DC fan and you're looking over at Marvel, you're like super salty. Let's be real here. They do their universe, and it's it's relatively family friendly and all that, but the writing in it is still a lot of times very well done. Like, I really enjoyed Loki's show. I thought that was really good. But I was still like, but it's not DC. Give us DC. And that was like the win we got with Peacemaker and Suicide Squad. Something finally that we can see that's live action and go, yeah, that's right. That's DC. And it's not CW. Because, oh my goodness. I do not care for it. I don't watch the CW. I did watch the first episode of Naomi. No.
You poor
just
soul.
no. What's that?
Well, the only thing we watch is Superman, Lois, and Stargirl. That's the only thing on CW I ever watch.
Yeah, you're right. I forget about those shows sometimes. But man, DC fans needed that. They really did, and I thought it was so good. So I'm glad they're doing like a Penguin show. I know they're doing another Suicide Squad one, or at least a spinoff of the Peacemaker one. So it's like, it finally feels like, yes, we can rejoice in maybe some good properties. I'm sitting here like in every video, like, make James Gunn their Kevin Feige. Make James Gunn their Kevin Feige.
He won't.
He won't though. I love it though.
Go
ahead.
So, hey guys, has anyone read George Perez's Sirens?
No.
Is that the Boom book or?
Yeah, the Boom book. It was pretty much the last ongoing he did.
Yeah, I think I read the first issue like when it came out. I don't think I've gone back since then.
And I went through it all. I enjoy a lot of high concept arts than you would think. Unfortunately, the coloring is. Tristy, mind emphasizing my image for a second so I can show it?
Yep, 1 second.
The coloring, it's not bad coloring, but there's something off about. Oh, wrong guy.
Hello.
It's something. It's like. I don't know if you can see it very well, but if you look, the coloring is just a little off, a little shiny, like weird emphasis on red and everything. It's like, I don't know who the colorist was, but when you compare it to, well, the cover, where everything looks much more evened out and all that, it just felt like something was bothering me throughout the whole thing. That's all I wanted to show off. Well, that and that outfit, what does that look like? A bit like Dr. Light's outfit.
Oh, yeah.
But
what is I just because I'm unfamiliar with the property, what is it about? Well, that just rearranged everybody. Okay. I don't know why that happened.
But well, as it says here on the back, as an intergalactic force enslaves planets across the galaxy, the legendary team known as the Sirens must reunite to save the galaxy. But is it even possible when the Sirens themselves don't even remember who they are, and the rest of the universe only remembers them as villains?
Ooh.
So basically, it's a huge team of women who are very strong, very powerful, all doing different type of skills and everything, trying to help protect the universe and everything.
Oh.
They said a lot of high concepts, especially when near the end of it, they have a bunch of comic pages helping find out, oh, that's how the bad guy knew what to do, because someone foretold us in a comic book long ago.
Well, that sounds interesting enough.
Yeah,
I've never read it. I was curious. And that's...
Oh, yeah.
You said it was newer?
Yes, this is like 2016, I think, was when he was done. It was right before he retired. Is when the last issue came out.
I'm gonna have to check it out for sure.
Even says, dedicated to my fans who through the years have welcomed me, supported me, and given me a life and career, all the better for their being part of it.
I think that I think it's unfortunate that George Perez, with his Sirens work, and he also did. There was another work he did with. There's the woman with the blood, and I forget her name. It was another title. A lot of his independent work, I don't think it never really got the attention that it could probably likely deserve. But I mean, in many ways, I mean, he was maybe a little bit ahead of the curve, particularly with Sirens, because it was basically an all-female team, and it never really got the much attention. And maybe, who knows, in the future it might. But I just want to make a quick comment about how I don't think the biggest impact that George Perez ever had, the single greatest comic book issue that for me, for George Perez, was the crisis when Supergirl died. It was in 1985, 86, that ballpark. When Kara died, people don't understand the impact that had. This was a day and age where, believe it or not, this is shocking to some people to hear, but death actually meant something in comics. When Kara died, she was dead. And that scene where she died was just absolutely spectacular. It was absolutely spectacular. And, she dies in one issue. The following issue, Barry Allen dies. Thing is, I didn't like Barry Allen. I didn't care that he died. But Supergirl, in the impact, in the trauma, all the traumas I've experienced in my life, I'll overshare some information with you. The first time I ever cried reading any fiction was the death of Kara, because I was so involved with the Kurt Swan Superman, and that image where Supergirl dies and Superman holding Kara, and and Robert has it holding up there with Superman crying, holding Kara, and he's screaming up. That literally had an impact on me. That blew me away. That was so impactful. And let's not forget. And the other thing is that was a death that actually stuck. I mean, Supergirl and Barry Allen remained dead for a long time. I mean, Barry Allen never came back to the lead up to Final Crisis. Kara remained that incarnation of Kara, not the protoplasm that Peter David worked with, but the actual daughter of whatever, Zor-El or whatever it was. Never came back until Jeff Loeb came back on the scene with Turner in the, I don't know, 2000s, mid 2000s.
Early 2000s.
Yeah, but I mean, that was huge. And that put DC on the map. When you look at all the hallmarks of what put DC on the map, I submit that the reason why DC is the distinguished competition was because of George Perez. And you can certainly, you got to throw in Wolfman. Obviously, no great giants do it alone, obviously.
Right.
But let's face it, comic books are a visual medium. So when we look at something, to this day, when somebody says, "Oh, you collect comics," and I think of comic books, in my head canon, when I visualize a comic book, it's got George Perez art.
Yeah.
And I say that despite the fact that I love Darwin Cook and he's my number one favorite artist. I think of George Perez art. And it's just, I mean, how can I not love this man that I have never met? And I feel for him. And I want to buy a Hawaiian shirt that was worn by George Perez.
I totally get it.
Back with Stargirl, look who had one of her first appearances is her superhero identity.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yolanda.
Oh, I'm like, what am I looking at here?
That's Yolanda as the new Wildcat.
Yeah.
So, but wait, I saw Wildcat and the new Midnighter were created recently for Stargirl.
Yeah.
Sorry,
no.
couldn't resist. I couldn't resist. I am never going to get that bit of stupidity. I am sorry. I am not going to forget.
I know.
Having certain YouTubers trying to push that, and thankfully, no. But why did anyone call them out on it? Oh, right, because if they don't bring it up again, it never happened.
Real quick, Rocky, to your point. When I first read, because I think we can all remember when we read the Facebook post that he had first posted when everyone kind of found out about this news. And one of the things that I had mentioned, I was on the Comics Aficionados over at Thinking Critical, and we were talking about just how impactful it was, and then we did the show. But one of the things that I remember is, I've never met the man, but one of the things that stuck out to me the most was just his humility and his love for what he did, so much to where he would be able to say, I'm going to try and do as many meetups as I possibly can to meet all my fans before this
I
is
love that.
said and done, and it just speaks so much to his character, speaks to his love of this passion that he has. And it's reason why you, for example, Rocky, have felt this way about a man that you've never met, because he does care so passionately about his fans that he would take the time, even in sickness, that he would say, I want to try and make it up to people by doing signings and doing meetups, is, even at this time in his life. So yeah, I don't know how you guys felt about the message. It definitely left me with the one tear rolling down the face. I can't deny that. But yeah, it was definitely heavy. So I just kind of had to add what you were saying, Rocky.
Yeah.
No, I think you're absolutely right. When like I said, like, it was the gut punch initially. And then when he talked about Christmas, I may be more in the spirit because this is my last year. And then he puts the quote, like, all of it. It was just like, like, it felt unreal. And like you guys said, I've never met him. I just look up to him. But it doesn't mean I didn't feel like I was losing a part of my childhood. Like when you, Rocky, you said, when you picture comic books. When I picture comics, I picture Wonder Woman. And I love Batman. I love the characters, I've said. But Wonder Woman, that was my meet cute, right? That was how I found her, or found him. And that is how I fell in love with Wonder Woman. Like, I remember having the book in front of me and going through, like, back and forth through the art and being able to find something new every single time. Same with Crisis on Infinite Earth. I can read that once every couple years and find something new every single time I read that book. And it's not because I'm a bad reader or anything like this. It's because he put so much of his life into that, and it shows. Like, even with this recent I would compare it to this recent Wonder Woman Historia. I've read that book quite a few times, and I'm still going back through and able to find stuff I missed. And we I feel like that's lost a little bit now, right? As compared to, like, I don't know, the great age, the early 80s, late 90s, and then I would say it picked back up in the 2000s. But, like, there's so much that he put into everything, and the way he treats, I can't. It's so
and
sad.
I would be curious to know from Joe, if because when I think of George Perez, he's the one creator, he's the one artist who, and this is so rare in my mind, and I say this with ego because I've been collecting long enough that I'm an egotistical bastard. But, I say that he's the one artist who has more passion with what he draws than we fans have. He's more passionate than us fans. His standards are higher than it, because we fans, we can be bastards. We can be so hard. I can be hard on creators. I admit that, and I don't care. I'm a bastard. Whatever. But George Perez, when he did a project, I mean, he didn't just do a project. He overdid a project. I'm reading. I read from George Perez Storyteller. I had no idea this. Kurt Busiek said that when he did Jelly Avengers, Kurt Busiek actually says in here, he's laughing as I can picture Kurt Busiek laughing when he's saying it. Like, the Guardians of the Galaxy weren't even in the plot. Teen Titans weren't even in the plot. I mean, all these characters weren't even in the plot. George Perez just threw them in the background. Yeah. They weren't even in the story. They're just in the background. I mean, it was unbelievable. But I mean, I'm hard pressed to think of a single artist today that does that. And and I don't know, Joe, if you feel the same way, or if if I'm just being too hard on the current crop of artists.
No, I think you're onto something because, I mean, even back in the 70s when Perez started doing books like Avengers, it was like, well, the idea was that no one really wanted team books because the rates were all the same. You're getting paid just as much to draw Spider-Man as you are for the Avengers. And the fact that George actively wanted that, the fact that George, back in the 70s was like, oh, I have this opportunity here to create a character. I'm going to create, a Puerto Rican superhero. The fact that, he juggled books like Avengers and JLA briefly at the same time is insane.
Yeah.
I heard Puerto Rican superhero. What was that?
White Tiger.
Leave it to Bianca.
Yeah, but no, he did all that. He came through again, like mentioned before, with like Rich Buckler. So it's like he learned from people who were already in the business. He went on to do all that, put a lot of work into stuff. I mean, you look at all the detail and everything he did, particularly, early and mid-career. I mean, even with the Busiek Avengers, which is, one of the I think most people would consider that maybe like his last like great run on a book. Yeah. In more longer form stuff. The last thing I really liked from him was probably World's Finest with Paul Levitz when he was doing that at the New 52. I enjoyed that.
Oh, yep, that was good.
Yeah.
The Brave and the Bold he did with Mark Waid.
Mark Waid was pretty good, yeah.
But with like World's Finest, like again, it's like all this, more recent stuff, and the way it was like rendered, the work that went into it. I mean, some of the changes are also just from the business. I mean,
right.
You go and you look at the credits and all that, and the older comics, you often had either the inker or the finisher, and they would also be heavy hitting talent. It would be like Dick Giordano or Bob McLeod or Terry Austin, people like that who were finishing. So yeah, I do think he often put a lot into those books in a way where you wish more people would. It's hard to tell if it's purely that or if it's just that he was such an exceptional talent in that way. Because a lot of artists, they're good with character work, but maybe they lack on the backgrounds. Like a lot of George's stuff, it feels like the same level of care and effort went into the backgrounds as they did,
Oh yeah.
In the character work. And very few artists, I feel, pull that off to the extent that he did.
Well, a lot of what he talks about, Joe, and is that he always, when you read anything about George Perez, when he talks about the Crisis or JLA Avengers, he talks about the research, the hours spent on researching the characters and what they look like and what was appropriate and what wasn't. And I just, maybe I'm just a cynical old bastard, like I said, but I'm not picking that up from a lot of artists nowadays. It's like they're phoning it in because they're just doing it for a cover artist,
here's
or this or that.
Here's an example, right?
And I just, there's a difference there. And I just, as I sort of did more readings in preparation for this wonderful tribute, I really got an appreciation for the guy. He actually gave a damn about what the hell he was doing, and he had a passion for it.
Right. But like for example, like I remember in this documentary on the Ultimate Avengers animated movie, this page here that I've been showing off was something that he had that Busiek had simply just had to be a plain room and everything. What does Perez do? Look at this. He gives it a top angle view, makes it way more intricate than Busiek ever described, and he just went right out of his way, and it blew Kurt's mind when he saw it. He's like, I didn't ask for this, but I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get the super chat real quick, Robert. 1 second. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Oval. I never know how to say your name. I'm so sorry. Thank you very, very much.
286.
286. Okay, I was gonna say 276. Holy moly, that's amazing. When you guys talking about the art, how do you feel about the more digital interpretation of art, like we see from like Michael Janin? I'm sure I said that wrong.
Freddie Williams.
Yeah. Like when it comes to the more digital art, are you, or even Steven Sajak, who's one of my probably, I love him. I love his art. I love
Some
his
get
work.
it right. Some get it right, I would
Yeah.
say. Some people, when they do the digital artwork, I mean, I would say this. Freddie Williams, his artwork can look sloppy. It should look sloppy, but it doesn't because he makes it work. But there are some artists who do the digital stuff who they use it as a crutch. And you're just like, go back to art school and relearn some of it. It's like, don't expect computers to help you through it all.
The most recent Silver Surfer run that just came out, the Silver Surfer Rebirth with Ron Mars and Ron Moon.
Yeah.
It's been fun. I mean, it's definitely been reminding me of that '90s run, which is so great. But you can,
I love the throwbacks. Yeah.
oh yeah, you can definitely see that there is a difference in the same illustrator, but now it looks more digital, and I don't know if that is due to pricing for pages, or if that is with this new digital technology, or if that's like more so with editorial or whatnot. I'm not well versed in that regard, but I do know it looks much different than that initial '90s run. But yeah, same guy. So it is kind of weird to see the juxtaposition between both and say, like, I can still see him as the illustrator, but there's just something missing, and I don't know if that is the digital aspect of things. But
Yeah, some of it's so good. Like I don't know how. I'm pretty sure all of Harleen by Steven Sajak was digital, and it's just, to me, that is the, like, besides Mad Love, we haven't had like a really quintessential Harley story, and to have that and have it look so good, that sometimes, like, even Mikkel Janin, I think, I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I'm so white. It's beautiful. But let's do a Robert, you said you had a two truths and a lie
Yep.
about you.
Yep.
Rocky, pick number 1 or 3.
3.
All right. What's your two truths and a lie, Robert? Whoever gets it right first in the chat will get number 3, and I will tell you what it is once somebody wins.
Superman is my favorite superheroic character. I've spent almost $10,000 on comics. Leon the Professional is my number 1 favorite movie.
Leon the Professional? Is that what you said?
Yep.
Yeah. Superman is not the best superhero. I don't know if that's the true one or not. I'm just putting it out there. Just saying. It's Mikkel Haben. Okay, yeah. I'm so bad with names. I really am. Anybody?
Anyone in the chat gonna guess?
Mikkel Hanen. Okay, I got it. Superman.
Oh, Hooded Justice got it.
Hooded Justice. 2 for 3. Dang.
wow.
No, Superman is not my all-time favorite. That is still the female Dr. Light.
Ooh, good pick, Ian.
She is still my favorite comic character,
What did we
period,
say, 3?
even above Superman. So number 3 was he said 3. That's what he
Okay,
said.
let's
Yep.
see. You got Legend of the Dark Knight number 1.
Now, that's a good one. That is a good one.
Derek Robertson.
So he got both of them. He got both of them.
Yes, he did. Derek Robertson. That issue was my favorite. I really, really liked that one, and I love Derek Robertson. His voice.
Tavia, definitely a bit late. Okay, now everyone's just saying Superman. Okay, guys, seriously.
Keely was very close, though.
Oh, Keely was very close. Oh,
Yes.
yeah, definitely very close. But everyone else is like,
one
come
more.
on, guy.
We got one more. We'll do it 8 o'clock. But I
But
guess I'll be
I wanted
nice
to say
and I'll
one
tell you
thing,
what
though.
it is. It
I
is-
got-
I will tell you one I just want to say quickly was when I think about Perez and the artwork. Oh, that's another good one.
Wait, what is
The other one.
Did it pop up?
But
Why isn't it
Yep, it
popping
did.
up?
it did.
We got Batman Fortnite coming up next. That'll be at 8 o'clock.
Yep. But I was just saying was when it comes to Perez, anytime I think of an art of comic books of superheroes, his is the work that always comes to the forefront, no matter what type of artwork. And every time I see some of these more detailed artworks and everything, I'm like, oh, that's phenomenal. But I'm still imagining George Perez.
Well, let me ask everyone on this panel, because we got an eclectic array from all kinds here. But when I think of a DC house style, now that's a very, very generalized term of art. When I think of a DC house style, I personally think of a George Perez like
Mm-hmm.
type of art, a Fel
Right.
Jimenez,
Him,
Jim
Jose,
Lee
or
slash. There's
Garcia
some
Lopez.
similarities there. I always think of
Garcia,
that
yeah.
particular when I think of a DC house style. If I follow it back and I think of what was that, when was that transition point? When did that click? And I go back to the 1980 with the new Teen Titans where that shift made. For me, I always loved Kurt Swan's Superman, and I always remember, slowly, ever so slowly, there's this new artist by the name of George Perez. And when I was younger, I didn't pay attention to who the artist was. I just looked at the style. And then
Yep.
it sounds so funny nowadays, but I used to look at the art, and it never occurred to me to look at the name at the front of the comic book as to who was drawing it. It was visual to me. And so I love Kurt Swan, but then Kurt Swan, that was near the tail end of his career. When he was more prominent, and then whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow, that was sort of Kurt Swan's song, no pun intended. And then after that, all of a sudden, George Perez really defined a new way of looking at American comic book art for me. And so I don't know about you guys, but I really think that it's no exaggeration to say that this guy really truly defined DC's house style, despite the fact that he's got as much. I mean, you can credit him with Infinity Gauntlet, at least 4 of the first 6 issues anyway for art. And that leaves, we got the box office of Endgame. I mean, this guy's influence is absolutely astonishing. If you really wanted to add this up, we're not talking hyperbole here for the people listening. It's no hyperbole to say that George Perez had a huge impact on DC.
Oh, yeah.
Huge impact on Marvel. Huge impact on the movies, on the greatest movies, second greatest movie of all time. I mean, good Lord. I'm not exaggerating, and I usually exaggerate.
I agree completely. When more so than Marvel, I can think of a few other creators who might match the house style, but Perez, him, or people of that ilk, him, Garcia Lopez.
That's what I was going to say too.
Yeah, those types. That is the specific house style I always think about when it comes to DC. Marvel to a degree too, but yeah.
I would say when you get closer to the 2000s, I sort of start thinking of like Jim Lee style, right? And kind of a more updated. But yeah, when you look back at honestly, when I think of DC Comics, I think of that style just because that is where I started. Like I started with Catwoman and Batman, and then I ventured out. I sort of just kind of got, I was a kid. I was just trading comics on the at recess, right? But then when I got older and I started actually looking into these things that I love, I started with Wonder Woman, and I'll go back to that every day of his Wonder Woman. Before that, it was a little, but I'll go back to that any day just because to me, without that, we would have no Gal Gadot Wonder Woman. We would have no even that amazing movie, the animated movie from the 2000s. We wouldn't have that without George Perez. Like when you say you're not using hyperbole, you're absolutely right. The comic book industry was shaped, in essence, by big names like Stan Lee, Jack Kirby. But you got to add in George Perez in there. He absolutely deserves his due.
Oh, jeez. Perez was the first. Because here's the funny thing about also with Wonder Woman. Up until Perez, no one wanted to work on her. No one. You had to be forced onto it to do it. Because
nobody wants to work on her even to this day. That's the sad
part.
But
Perez was the first one since Marsden who wanted to work on her. He said, if they said, well, after Craig says, what do you want to do? I want to do Wonder Woman. If I remember right, they tried to talk him out of it.
Wow.
They tried to talk him out of it, but he's like, no, I want to do Wonder Woman. And then Karen Berger, before Vertigo, she was the editor on the book.
Berger.
Yeah. I would also have to add in Neil Adams in that era, too, just because of his Batman.
Oh, Adams is a totally different type of style. But
well, yeah, but I just mean, like, thinking of that era, those are what I think of when I go back to, like, early comics when I first discovered them. Like that was everything I loved. All those two were everything I loved when I first started. I love it.
The Harley Hammer.
Is one side open?
I gotta make it big.
This is popcorn. This is when you went to the Harley Quinn Birds of Prey movie, you got this. I got my popcorn.
Oh,
Oh, it's not big enough.
So cool. I love it.
You love your popcorn, obviously.
Oh, I love your Betty Boop in the background.
Yes, I stole that actually. Actually, I stole a Harley Quinn. Actually,
We have a
It
criminal.
just occurred to me that I should watch what I say on a live stream. I'm kidding. No, it was given to me.
Winky.
yeah, but yeah, like but I mean, I think we can all agree that Perez. I mean, again, there's a reason why I cried so much for almost the whole day when I got the news, because that's how much he meant. Because that's how much of an impact. I don't think I would have adored comics as much as I can if it wasn't for Crisis.
I got
thank you so
two
much.
more. I got
Oh.
two more. I've got more than enough to cover the show here. But I got two more truths and one lie I can say about George Perez.
All right,
Hi,
let's do it.
Raymond.
But let me get the super chat real quick.
291. We're
It
9
doesn't
away
need
from
to be a super
300.
chat. I
Yes.
got a bunch of them. This
Well,
is just
boys
for
and girls, this has been fun, but I gotta get going. I hope you all have a rest of.
See ya,
the stream.
Raymond.
Thank you so much, Raymond. We are at 291. That is amazing. All right, two
Wow.
truths and a lie.
Okay, two
We'll give
truths and a lie. Here it comes up. 3 statements. 2 of them are true. 1 is a lie. The first statement is George Perez spoke to feminist Gloria Steinem before writing Wonder Woman. Second statement: Perez contributed comic book art to every cover of Infinite Crisis issues 1 through 7. Third statement: George Perez drew the interior of every issue of Infinity Gauntlet issues 1 through 6. Which one is a lie?
You got this, guys. Last one.
So statement one again. One of these is a lie. Statement 1: Perez spoke to feminist Gloria Steinem before beginning his iconic Wonder Woman run. Statement 2: Perez contributed art to every cover of Infinite Crisis issues 1 through 7. Statement 3: Perez drew the interior of every issue of Infinity Gauntlet issues 1 through 6. One of those is a lie.
Nope.
Come on, guys. You got this.
I actually learned about one of them today.
That's awesome.
I think I already see the answer.
I don't know the answer.
It's kind of a we're sort of like threading a needle on this one, but this is
Although, should that count? Okay, I see Tavia got yeah.
One's the lie. Is it 3?
Tristan, you tell me when I can give the answer.
You can give the answer because I think
Okay.
I know it, but I just want to make sure.
Okay, the lie, the untruth is that Perez did not in fact draw every issue of Infinity Gauntlet 1 through 6. He drew all the interiors of issues 1 through 4, but issues 5 and 6, Ron Lim did the art, and
Half of 4 actually.
He inked issues 5 and 6. Am I being corrected on some of this?
It was half of 4. Half of 4. 4.
Okay.
So 3.5.
Fair enough, but
So 2 was the lie, right?
but that was
No,
a lie.
3.
He did not in
3
fact
was
the
draw
lie.
all the art for issues. 1
Cool.
through 6.
Tavia got it.
So Tavia got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, that makes shipping easier. Thank you, Tavia. So let me see what I got. I know what I got here.
Dang it, Black
Where is it?
Phoenix.
I've got
Yeah.
you a Fortnite #1. Hey, those are awesome.
Again.
Can't even hate on the Fortnite comics because they were like not supposed. They shouldn't have been. They didn't have the right to be that good, but they were. I love it. Nice job, Tavia.
Nice job. Yeah, I'll be honest. I was going to speak up, but I kept my mouth shut. I'm like, oh, come on. That is the easiest one.
I thought that's what I didn't know. Oh God, I'm losing so much.
We said it a couple of times tonight alone.
I knew. Shush. Okay, you've got one more. You said right. Let's just do it for fun.
Yep, this is for
I
fun.
do. You asking me? I got another
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, you said you did.
Okay, yeah, no, I do. Yeah. All right. Okay. Here's the thing. George Perez, I'm just going to put this out there. George Perez, actually, the who's who of the DC universe, we all know about the Marvel handbook of the Marvel universe. Well, DC had a DC's Who's Who of the DC universe.
Mm-hmm.
George Perez did all the covers for those things. So I'm just going to leave. Now, that's just some general information to sort of help people along on this, because you guys are going to need help on this one. Unless you're going to prove me wrong, and that's perfectly fine.
I always need help. So
here we go. Here are 3 statements, 2 of which are true and 1 of which is false. Okay, so here we go. Perez contributed to the Who's Who of the Star Trek universe in 1987. That's the first statement. Second statement, George Perez contributed to the Who's Who for the New Gods universe in 1988. And the third statement is Perez contributed to the general DC universe Who's Who in March of 1985. Which one is false? So we got the Who's Who for Star Trek, the Who's Who for New Gods, and the Who's Who for the general DC universe. Which one is false? Which one did George Perez not contribute to?
Since it's just for fun, I'm saying Star Trek.
I'm saying New Gods.
Tristan, you tell me when it's okay to give the answer.
I'm letting everyone answer. We've got number 1. We've got second is false.
Oh, happy early birthday, Black Grit Phoenix.
Oh wow, Samuel's here.
All right, Star Trek. We've got first. We've got 2. All right,
everybody's busy Googling.
Like crap. Let me get
cheating.
This out real
Everybody's
quick.
Cheating. It's not fair.
I say New Gods.
I love me some New Gods. All right, go for it. Go for it, Rocky.
Well, in fact, believe it or not, it is in fact, Robert, you are right. It's the New Gods. There was no Who's Who for the New Gods. There was a Who's Who for the Star Trek universe. Most people probably don't remember this, but DC did have a Star Trek series in 1986 that came out, and in 1987 there was a Who's Who for the Star Trek universe, of which George Perez contributed his art. But there was never a Who's Who for the New Gods, so that was I made that up. That was a lie.
I had a
Which number was that?
I'm sorry, what?
Which number was that one? The first one?
Mm-hmm.
First one with the Star Trek Who's Who.
So,
the
lie was New Gods. Yeah. There was no New Gods Who. That was a complete fabrication. That was a lie.
Yeah, I had a feeling because I'm like, wait, I knew they did a Who's Who of Star Trek. Then when you said New Guys, I'm like, something doesn't sound right.
That's too funny. I had no idea. We got about 10 minutes left, so we're gonna play a little game. And I'm totally not for, so you know what? It's okay. Let me bring it up. Would you rather? We need a consensus here. So whichever one gets 3, we'll go with. Oh my God. This has started out really, really dark. Would you rather?
Wow.
Kill your dog or your best friend? Holy crap.
Are we allowed to answer too?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh, wait,
Let's 5 answer. Whenever
kill my dog.
Oh, wait. I know for a fact, though, you don't have a dog, so we have to change it to cat for you, Tristan.
No. It doesn't work that way. Yeah.
Oh, come on. You don't know what it feels like. You wouldn't know what it feels like if you have to focus on a dog. So come on.
All right. But I still got to say dog. Human life.
All right.
What about you, Bianca?
Dog.
Robert.
I know.
I
hate them at dog. I would have to say dog.
I did not know this.
It pains me. It pains me.
Wait, did we lose?
Oh, we lost Rocky.
We lost Rocky.
Uh-oh.
I thought it seemed less.
Yeah, I was like,
what the way we are?
Happened?
Yeah, especially when you said 5 of us. I'm like, wait, 5? I said there were 6.
What?
It tells me I'm in the show. Can you hear me?
Oh.
Yeah, we can hear you.
we hear you.
I think it's the format is.
Oh, I think it is.
There we
There we
go.
He got pushed down.
I'm on the bar. Yes, this is awesome.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. I would happily kill my dog because I don't honor dogs, so I would have no emotion.
There we go. We're gonna go.
Unless
That was my
if my
point.
dog's name was George, I probably wouldn't kill him. But
Live
Beyond
through
that.
the sinking of the Titanic or live through a kidnapping. Oh my goodness. This just goes from dark to still stays dark.
Mm.
Titanic.
What about you, Joe?
I'd rather live through a kidnapping, because if I lived through the Titanic, I would be very old.
Oh, very good point. What about you, Max?
If I lived through the Titanic, I wonder if I'd have like the movie made about me.
There you go.
But I do actually, there is a friend of mine who did go live through a kidnapping, and he is an incredible. I mean, he is absolutely one of the most resilient and just fantastic people I've ever met. So if that's the type of person that I could become from overcoming something like that, sure, I'll go with kidnapping.
Or you'll end up getting PTSD. You never know.
Well, there's a little bit of that from my previous military days, but so kidnapping might not be so bad after that.
I say kidnapping.
Well, thank
I
you
say
for your
kidnapping.
service.
Oh gosh, no, thank you so much.
I say kidnapping too. What about you, Bianca?
Titanic. I would
Aha!
rather
Too
die.
bad
Mm.
you are in the minority here.
Yay!
50-50.
wow.
50-50.
Wow.
Live through your biggest fear or have to relive your biggest regret.
Ooh.
I already
Ooh.
lived through my biggest regrets, though.
Yeah, but you gotta do
They
it
just
again.
said, it said relive. They just said relive.
Oh,
Ooh,
relive. I feel like I relive it all the time. I have anxiety. It keeps me
Ouch.
awake at 3 a.m. I really live it in my brain.
I say
I-
biggest regret because I cannot stand the idea of sharks or water at all. It
But
freaks
sharks
me
don't
out.
Well,
know
you're
you
saying, but
per
you're saying lives through,
se.
but you're saying lives through, so you might get over your fear. To which I say fear, because I could get through it.
Doesn't work that way. They're too scary.
I would
But
absolutely.
you just said you're living through it, though. You're saying
Robert, let Joe talk.
I would absolutely go with have to relive your biggest regret, because it wasn't bad at the time it was happening. So hey,
There you go.
Oh, that's a good take.
That depends.
Because yeah, we all think it's a good decision at the time.
Yeah. There you go. All right, we're gonna go with regret. Let's see what everyone else. Yeah.
all
I get
right.
that. I don't know. I just the idea of sharks. No, not even a little bit. Okay, fall down a flight of stairs. Oh my goodness, and get thrown out of a moving vehicle at 50 miles per hour. I'm
Stairs.
assuming living with both of the options. We live. So stairs, Robert. What about you, Bianca?
I've tripped over a flight of stairs, so I assume it's the same thing. I'll pick the green one.
What about you, Joe?
the amount of stairs could be a factor. I guess it's like it's a full flight of stairs. If the ground at the bottom's like carpeted or has a nice like carpet square or something, that might be like a mat. That'd probably be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does an escalator count as stairs? Because that would be pretty horrifying.
Escalators.
Horrible. What about you, Rocky?
I would probably choose to. I would rather fall down a flight of stairs because I feel like I would have more control. I mean, look, I would have more control out of a flight of stairs, I would think, than 50 miles per hour. There's too many variables associated with that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not familiar with the environment. You throw me out of a moving vehicle at 50 miles per hour, I might hit I don't know, I might hit a post, I might hit a pole, I might hit a curb. At least with
Or
stairs, I
another
know I'm
car.
just dealing with stairs,
Yeah, well, the other thing is you have the big thing of thrown versus fall. Fall, you're just like, dude, thrown, you have the added momentum of like, it's not like you're thrown down the stairs.
Yeah, I'm
you're
like
thrown down the stairs.
Batman. Batman being awesome is about knowing what your environment is. Not sometimes you can defeat your opponent not by knowing your opponent, but by knowing the environment. And that's so know the environment, know the battlefield. So I know stairs. We all know stairs, but I don't know randomly throwing me out of a vehicle in some random spot at 50 miles an hour. That scares the shit out of me.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, this one's
Hungry.
so easy. I mean, hungry. Being exhausted to me is like the worst thing. I can't. I always need energy.
It's much harder for me to get to get more awake from, it's the counter exhaustion than it is hunger. Hunger, nom, 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 good to go. Exhaustion, I gotta take a nap.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. What about you, Max?
Going to, I'm gonna have to say I'd rather go to work exhausted, because I know that there's coffee, there's energy drinks, there's something that can stimulate workflow. But when you're hungry, I just become, like, especially me, I become cranky, I become irritable. So it wouldn't be good to be around. So I'd probably say exhausted.
He becomes hangry.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
What about you, Joe?
I've gone to work exhausted a lot, so that's fine.
You're like, I'm used to it now. It's
Yeah,
become normal. Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know. I think you guys are crazy. What about you, Rocky?
These two are very closely associated in my life. I have actually experienced this. I'm embarrassed to say I experienced this too much, frankly, in the last 6 months. So I would say that if I had to pick between the two, I would pick exhausted, because if I'm exhausted, then I know I can cure it by satisfying my hunger. And so there's stuff at work that I can do that I know what it is, because I mean, at least, yeah, I would go with exhausted, because the thing is, though, when you got to get stuff done, I can psychologically overcome exhaustion by knowing I have to get something done. It's a psychological thing with me personally. I can't speak for everyone, obviously, but I would psychologically I can overcome exhaustion. I have a very hard time overcoming hunger.
That's so weird, because I am exactly opposite. Like, exactly, like, hunger doesn't bother me, but being exhausted, I need my energy. I don't know. All right, we're gonna wrap up, guys. I am not, like, this is amazing. We made
291
or 91. 291. I'll put it in $9 and get that just straight to 300, because the OCD thing.
Yeah.
We raised $300 for Hero Initiative. Thank you guys so much. Like, this means the world to me. It can help some people, and we're honoring a legend, an absolute legend of the industry. And I know that a lot of people are going to be, eventually when his time comes, we'll probably revisit this idea, but a lot of people are going to really have a hard time. This man means so much to so many people. And I don't know. It means a lot that you guys were all there. All here. I mean, I really, really appreciate it. So, Bianca, do you have anything coming up that you want to plug?
What's today? Today
Sunday.
is Sunday. Well, if things goes according to plan, I should have Liana on with me on Friday. I have to double check with her. And then during the week, I'm going to be doing the for Black History Month, I decided to wrap up all of my indie comics that are made by Black indie creators and try to put them out in parts.
That's awesome. I'm so excited. Make sure you guys, after the stream's over, I will put Bianca's link in the description so you can check it out.
310 now. We're at 310.
310. Thank you guys so much. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Wait. All right, Robert, do you have anything coming up that you wanna plug?
So far, the only thing I've got right now is my upcoming Pro Teachers Noob that I have Bianca and Raymond on for, and that we just recorded today. It's going to be the Judge Dredd crossovers. So mainly Batman, Judge Dredd, and Judge Dredd versus Predator and Alien. Cool. Oh, and the werewolf deviation. Because Bianca loves werewolves.
Yay!
That's awesome. What about you, Max? Make sure you guys check out his channel. He does great work. But do you have anything coming up?
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I have, so recently I've been on a huge Lord of the Rings kick. It's been really fun going back into the old works of Tolkien, going through the Silmarillion, the Unfinished Tales, and kind of pulling through that, getting ready for this new series, how the two correlate. So I've been doing a lot of Lord of the Rings stuff. And so if you guys are interested in that, I'll be doing that pretty recently. And then, of course, my channel mainly focuses around comic books. And I've been on a big like 90s Top Cow run. So maybe hopefully doing some reviews of some of those in the near future.
That's awesome. I know zero about Lord of the Rings, so I'll definitely be tuning in.
Cool.
Chuck, oh my gosh, thank you so much. 315.
Nice.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I know I was never expected this. Thank you guys. Joe,
Yes.
I know you don't have a channel, but he's got Backstar and everything else. Anything you're working on coming up?
Yeah, there's a bunch of things I have in the works that aren't announced yet, but yeah, Backstar's still available through Mad Cave's website, Amazon, all the normal places to look for that. She Said Destroy is still available through Vault Comics. You can read the first issue for free on their website. The Deadbeats musical horror anthology and Deadbeats London Calling are both anthologies still available through Waverly World's website or Amazon and all those spaces as well. And you can catch me pretty regularly on Thinking Critical, talking with Wes and Breen about classic comics and their comic retrospective videos.
I love those. Those are my favorite. Rocky, Comic Boom. I know you do your weekly stuff, but
yeah, I weekly we my collaborator Jace of the Comic Source and I, we review most of the DC comics, usually all of them every week. So we do that every week, and you can usually check that out on Monday or Tuesdays, late Monday night or early Tuesday mornings. Coming up, we're going to be breaking them up a little bit more because it takes DC, I don't know, when you got like 15 or 16 comic books coming out a week, that's a little bit insane. So we're going to be breaking them up, changing the format a little bit. We got the timestamps on YouTube and on the podcast, but it gets a little crazy. But War for Earth 3, heads up. I actually think it's a lot of fun. War for Earth 3, I think is it's a fun series. So I'll be doing a separate video review for that. I wish Trial of the Amazons was a little bit better than what I've read so far. I got a sneak peek of that, but in any event, I'm a DC guy, so I live and die by DC. So if you want to check out DC stuff and get some critical commentary, constructive and maybe sometimes not so constructive criticism, you can check out my channel.
So you've already gotten to see. I'm so jealous. I can't wait that's the one I'm looking forward to the most. Trial of the Amazons, I'm like meh, but yeah. The what is it? War for Earth 3. I always call it World War 3, and then I'm like,
well, War for Earth 3 is surprisingly entertaining as hell. And boy, it's kind of a breath of fresh air. It's surprising on a number of levels, but I like it. It's very, very, very different. Robbie Thompson and Dennis Hopeless. I was a little worried about Dennis Hopeless, but I kind of enjoyed I don't know what the hell he's done, but the collaboration seems to be working. I like the.
Why is not Tim Sheridan?
Well, yeah, Tim Sheridan. While I haven't read his Teen Titans issue 13, which is the third chapter of War for Earth 3. So I'm not a fan of Tim Sheridan. I'm not going to lie about that. But you never know. I mean, who knows? Maybe with his influence from Jeremy Adams and Jeff Johns on his collaborations with Flashpoint Beyond, maybe he's learned something about maybe the difference between writing for animation and writing for comic books. I don't know. Fingers crossed. But we'll see.
Definitely. I love Robbie Thomas. Every single one of his Suicide Squad I've enjoyed a lot. So I'm excited for that one. But yes, and also you guys, me and Bianca have a premiere in the morning every Monday morning. This week it's about girl stuff. How to advertise towards girls, how to get women interested in your comic book or TV show. That should be super fun. So yes, thank you guys all so much. What? Go ahead, Bianca. Were you gonna say something?
I was mostly going to say also about like gendered media. Since you did talk a little bit about that. I'm so sorry for the background noise.
Oh no, you're fine. You're totally fine. But yes, make sure you guys check that out. And thank you all so much. 350? Did I
15.
3:15. Holy crap. Thank you guys so much. We will see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.